Corey Meredith, and welcome to LTV News, where we bring you everything LaSalle, Philadelphia, and global news. We have politics aplenty on this episode as we give you the latest on Philly's upcoming makeover, as well as the state and national elections before Madison Elliott sits down with students to see what will happen next for both Republican and Democrats. And also, Brendan Rigney invited LaSalle professor and author Anthony Paul Smith in the studio for a chat. But let's start with some LaSalle news first. According to previously given updates, progress continues in LaSalle's search for a president. As stated in the most recent report from November 4th, several candidates for the position have been contacted and were to be brought in on the 7th for interviews. No words yet on how these went or what the next step in the process will be. The American Red Cross visited LaSalle this past month for another blood drive. Faculties and students, including our own Brendan Rigney, decided to donate to help meet the Red Cross's goals for this fall. Over 230 LaSallians heard the call, donating 211 pints of blood. This exceeded expectations, due in large part to the combined efforts of Greek, academic, and health organizations. Thanksgiving is nearly here, and who better to help you prepare than the LTV News crew? Crew member John Vidal took the opportunity to educate us on the proper Thanksgiving Day cooking. Check it out.
So I'm here with John, and we are going to show you how to make a simple yet traditional Thanksgiving dinner. So we have stuffing, we have green beans, almonds, sweet potatoes, and of course your turkey wings. So John, let's get started.
All right, let's get started. We have Corey basting our turkey with some light butter. We have Steve over here prepping our potatoes for our mashed potatoes. And we have Madison over there preparing our green beans. This is pre-seasoned stuffing, so you don't actually have to make your own bread and toast it. You can just easily boil this and add your own little spices to it. So what we're gonna have to do is have 1.5 cups of water, and we're just gonna add this whole bag to it. And we're also gonna need 1 stick of butter.
Me doing work in the background.
How is it, Steve?
The first step is to cut the ends off of your potatoes. Then you need to peel them as Steve is doing so well. You must wash it off once more and then chop the potatoes up. Lastly, you want to put the potatoes into a boiling pot of water and let them simmer for about 20 minutes until they are nice and soft for mashing.
So what we can do too is make green beans almondine. We can fry the almonds in butter and then mix them in with the...
See, she knows what she's talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Ew, oh my gosh, that's so gross. Please stop.
Put your hands up!
First, you must cut off all of the fat on the turkey. Then you have to butter it up.
Like, baste the turkey. So
The butter is going to add more flavor to the turkey. You may also need to cut off the vein of a turkey wing to ensure that it doesn't bleed.
do you want to crack the neck?
No.
We're gonna add to our turkey is a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because if you add a little bit to your turkey, you're gonna have a sweet, sensational taste.
And then you add salt to enhance the taste.
The turkey is being assaulted.
So we got our crescent rolls. Very delicate with your crescent rolls. There's an art to rolling a crescent roll. I have to leave. And I don't think this is gonna go well without me here. Hopefully John can pull down the fort, but let's hope they don't burn the place down.
Once the potatoes are ready, you have to drain the pot and put them in a stirring bowl. Once the potatoes are in the bowl, you can start mashing them with a spoon. You can start mixing in milk, sugar, butter, and of course, cinnamon. Make sure to taste test along the way in case you need to add any more ingredients.
What do you know? More butter. Good form.
After the potatoes are mixed properly, as Steve demonstrates, you can put the potatoes onto a pan and add the marshmallows. Let them bake until the marshmallows have melted and are golden brown. Once the crescent rolls are golden brown, you can take them out and set them to let them cool. When everything is finished, place your turkey, green beans, and mashed potatoes on the plate. Make sure to grab a crescent roll and sit down and enjoy the food as John, Steve, Brendan, and Corey are doing. I hope this helps to show you how to make a do-it-yourself Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, that does it for LaSalle News. Before we head to our first commercial break, let's take a look at what Brendan Rigney learned from esteemed Dr. Anthony Paul Smith. Smith is an author and lecturer who is outspoken for environmental and economic issues, and Brendan Rigney is a simple comm major who has trouble tying his shoes. I'm sure it was an intelligent talk from both parties. Take a look and you be the judge.
Hello and welcome to another LTV News interview segment. Brendan Rigney here, sitting beside me, the one and only Dr. Anthony Paul Smith of the Religion Department. Anthony Paul Smith, sir, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It is quite a pleasure to have you on. We're going to focus our discussion on the book that you wrote, and it has a long title with a subtitle.
Yeah.
A non-philosophical theory of nature, ecologies of thought. So could you tell me a little bit more about this? I understand it's about the ecology of nature and how we should stop looking at it from the philosophical standpoint that we've always held it in. Could you maybe expound a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Well, so I should say that the publisher made me reverse the title. So I call it Ecologies of Thought, a non-philosophical theory of nature, because that makes sense for a book title. But the publisher thought that Google would like it better the other way around. Yeah, that's why it's titled that. But the idea behind the book is that there's this concept nature that we've been passed down, that's been passed down to us from philosophy and from theology, mainly monotheistic theology, so theology arising out of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And that idea of nature is not adequate to dealing with the ecological crisis facing us today. And so it was a matter of trying to rethink the concept of nature in light of the ecological crisis. And so the non-philosophical part comes from the work of this French philosopher named Francois Laruelle, who has this thing he calls non-philosophy, which we can maybe talk about if you'd like. But basically what he gave me was this model for how to try to bring together different discourses, different ways of, different forms of knowledge, different ways of understanding the world. And so I try to bring together in the book the history of philosophy, the history of theology with scientific ecology. So concepts that come out of ecology like biodiversity, or something called niche theory, the ecosystem concept itself, and which is about the relationship between living things, dead things, and what's called the never living, so like rocks and that sort of stuff. And so it's an attempt then to rethink this category that we have of nature. Yeah, that's the basic idea.
I mean, thank God you said that. I was telling you earlier that I tried to crack the egg that is this book, and I don't have the mind for it, I guess, because I got completely lost right from the get-go. But this book has been getting some pretty high praise, actually. I was looking up reviews, and some of the things that people are saying about it are it's a very important work, and it's highly original, and my favorite one, groundbreaking and timely, this book sets the cutting edge for contemporary thinking. So what do you, I mean, I hope you're flattered, because that sounds amazing.
I don't know if they're right. They're probably not. But I do think what the book is good at is getting us to see that, even the way we think is based in our ecological being. So, so for example, to bring it to a political and a social example, human beings can't do high-level thinking. They can't engage with the world in a way that is critical and able to work with it if they don't have proper nutrition. And so right there, this idea that we have where, like, let's just put people in school and like they need to work hard and they'll do well. Ecology tells us, well, that doesn't even make sense. People can't do philosophy unless they have a certain kind of ecological relationship in the world, one that's healthy and so on. And so the book tries to rethink from that perspective. And if it is original or if it is some kind of model for thought, it's only insofar as it is trying to bring together these really real concerns in the social world and the political world with theoretical questions that you have in philosophy and theology, like the abstract stuff that you're forced to think about in those classes.
It's weird. No, it's not weird. Excuse me. That's not even close to the correct word.
It's probably weird.
No. You didn't even let me finish. Oh my! Look at you, just jumping the gun. Oh my word. What I was going to say was that you talk a lot about the environment. You had an Explore Cafe last year, which this is my favorite title of anything. Thinking through the environmental crisis, are we doomed? So are we doomed? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It depends how I feel when I wake up, how that question is. I mean, the reality is that your generation and your children's generation faces a very challenging outlook. I don't have the numbers to hand, but a recent report from the UN's climate change working group, the IPCC, has suggested that their earlier predictions, which were already very grim and very dire, had to be rethought because they're seeing things happening at a much faster rate than they were expecting. And what that means is it's not going to look like something like The Day After Tomorrow, the movie that came out when you were like 10, so you probably haven't seen it. But one of these disaster movies where like an environmental collapse happens, where it's dramatic and it seems to be really affecting people in like New York City, that sort of thing. The reality of climate change is going to be far more. You're going to notice it slower than that. It's going to creep up on you. In America, the nice thing about being in a rich country is money buys time, and we can sort of soothe the effects of a sick planet in the same way that if you were very sick, we could soothe you as you're slowly dying. But in other parts of the world where they don't have that, we're already seeing an increase of drought, which increases famine, which then causes conflicts where people are fighting over resources. You're also, there's a potential for seeing an increase in infectious disease that comes from climate change because of some of the effects of desertification, which is where an environment is slowly kind of like
eroded away.
Yeah, well, right. So I don't know that we're doomed, but we certainly are if the political will stays the direction it's heading right now, which is to not do anything.
So would you say it's stagnant, or would you say it's on a downward track?
The political will?
Political will.
I mean, I think that after this past week's elections, that it's definitely on it's people in this country don't seem to want to deal with the reality of climate change. The political will is to ignore it, and the potential head of the Senate Committee on the Environment is someone who believes that climate change is made up by a bunch of scientists who, for some reason, want to make something up. And that has pretty disastrous effects. So it is something where it's not going to be some leader, some messianic leader who we elect that fixes everything. It is something where ordinary people like you and me and people watching have to force the political leaders to do something. And that's, I don't see a lot of movement in that direction, unfortunately.
That is some pretty heavy stuff you just kind of laid on me there. I mean, but it's okay, because we're going to keep you around.
Okay.
But we're going to wrap it up right now. I'm going to keep you around for something very special. You'll see it on the web, but thank you again for stopping by. I hope to have you on possibly as a panelist for one of our things. We cover a bunch of different topics. Every other episode, we have a panel at the end, and I would just love to have you come on and give your opinion on some of the things that we talk about. So that is my verbal promise right there, I guess, to go the distance and try and get Dr. Smith back on the show. So thank you again for stopping by, and we'll see you after this commercial break.
This is Nick Bramante from LaSalle Explorers, and you are watching LaSalle TV.
Welcome back. I'm Steve Graham, and here's your Philadelphia news. It appears another addition to the city skyline awaits in the near future. A new skyscraper will be built and is projected to be done in 2017. According to the City of Philadelphia's blog site called You Wish You Knew, Comcast and Liberty Property Trust introduced a new plan for a 1,100-foot tower to be built on the 1100 block of Arch Street. And it's meant to reach higher than Comcast's current tower. Estimated to cost $1.8 billion, the project will break ground this summer. This new structure will house the new headquarters for NBC 10 and Telemundo, along with growing Comcast technology workforce and a new four-season hotel at the top. Also, here will be a luxury and fine dining restaurant that will offer a 360 degree. It will be the tallest in the U.S. outside of New York and Chicago. Excuse me. The new skyscraper won't be the only new architectural feature being added to the city in the upcoming year. Wish You Knew reports that by 2016, a new Kimpton Hotel on the Parkway will be opening, priced at an estimated $125 million. It will be 12 stories high and will replace the parking garage and restaurant called Little Pete's Diner located there. This new hotel will have 300 rooms, 40 suites, and a possible restaurant and shopping center on the top floors. Here's some exciting news for fun lovers. According to Wish You Knew, last year's Waterfront Winterfest will become a permanent addition to holiday festivities. Penn's Landing River Rink will once again become a winter wonderland, opening to the public on November and will remain open until March 1st. The attraction will also include a bar, restaurant, winter beer garden, light show, and shopping experience offered by the Art Start Gallery and Boutique, being designed by the same architects. It will mirror the version of the Spruce Street Harbor Park from the summer. Make sure to check it out. I know I will. Lastly, we turn our attention to the Philadelphia Light the Night event occurring on Sunday, November 9th. The successful event raised money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and was held at the Art Museum. The night kicked off with some fundraising before the walk, where multiple businesses and organizations attended to represent their support. People took over the parkway around the museum and visited the various tents full of games, prizes, and food. Special speakers included cancer survivors and those who lost loved ones to cancer. True to tradition, attendees lit up lanterns and before the beginning of their walk along the Schuylkill River Trail. The night ended with free cookies and hot chocolate for all. That wraps up news for the City of Brotherly Love. It's time for another commercial break, but when LTV News returns, Corey will give you the full story on the Senate elections, and Madison Elliott will discuss these results with LaSalle students. All this to come and more when we come back.
From LaSalle's very own TV show, Q&A. I'm here on North Campus asking random students trivia questions. Let's see how well they do today. Which rainforest produces 1/5 of the world's oxygen?
I believe it to be the Amazon rainforest.
And that is correct. Name the 7th planet from the sun.
Uranus.
That is correct. What is the capital of Spain?
Is it Barcelona?
It's actually Madrid.
Uh-oh.
Only one sex of the mosquito bites. Is it the male or the female?
It's the female.
That's right. Which chess piece can only move diagonally?
The bishop.
That's correct. The Dewey Decimal System is used to categorize what?
Books.
That is correct. Be sure to check us out on social media and watch new episodes of LaSalle's favorite TV game show, Q&A, Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m., only on LaSalle TV and YouTube. And remember to never stop exploring.
Welcome back. Let's see what the nation and the world has in store for us. Harry Potter fans are in for a treat. The series author J.K. Rowling surprised the world recently by releasing 6 spin-off short stories. The first and only previous announced tale chronicled the backstory of evil Hogwarts professor Dolores Umbridge. Among the other 5 stories kept a secret in the history of the Azkaban prison and Ministry of Magic. Moving across seas to Europe, the renowned ceiling of the Sistine Chapel will soon be seen in a new light. 7,000 new LED lights will be installed to give visitors a better viewing experience and to also help preserve the frescoes. The €3 million project also includes a new air ventilation system to monitor humidity. These updates coincide with the 415th anniversary of Michelangelo's death. The 2014 midterm election marked the beginnings of the new era in national politics. For the first time since 2006, Republicans seized control of both houses of Congress by winning senatorial elections in 19 states. The party breakup for the incoming Senate is currently 52 Republicans, 44 Democrats, and 2 independents. Senate Monetary Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky is expected to assume the portion of Majority Leader. The Republican leadership in both houses, many expect more gridlock in the years to come. Following the election, President Obama reacted bluntly, stating, quote, "We got beat," end quote. Quite a way with words he is. He acknowledged that he will have to work with the new leadership and to pledge compromise on key issues like immigration reform. Of course, the latest change in the Guard causes more than the president's gray hairs. To see what other impact these elections have on the nation, we have Madison Elliott sitting down with 2 students, Tommy McIntyre and Michael Cooney. Let's see what she can dust up. Take it away, Madison.
Thanks, Corey. So today I have with me students Tommy McIntyre and Michael Cooney. So thank you guys for coming on to the show today. So let's get to it. This election had a lot of game-changing results, the biggest being the Republicans taking over the Senate, and this is the first time that they will control the House and the Senate in 8 years. So what do you think the effect will be with the Republicans controlling the House and the Senate?
Unfortunately, I think that it's going to be very detrimental in terms of an unproductive 2 years. There's been a very unpartisan government, federal government at this moment in time, and I just feel that having a Democratic executive and a Republican Congress is not going to fare well for compromise.
Yeah, Tommy?
Yeah, it's definitely it's not really going to do anything. I mean, there wasn't really anything going on when you had Democratic Senate and then Republican House of Representatives, and then of course nothing was going to done, nothing was going to pass through because there was no agreements. And now you have a whole entire Republican Congress, and you have an executive branch in President Obama that's not really, they really haven't been agreeing on that much. And I hopefully Mitch McConnell can maybe change something. Maybe him and Boehner and the president can come together. But yeah, really anything that the president does now, or if he wants to do, probably won't get past. Anything they want to do, the Republicans, it's probably not going to get passed.
Yeah, I think there's just going to be a lot of gridlock, as mentioned earlier. It's going to be really hard for Obama to get anything done. So it might be kind of hard getting stuff passed these next couple years, so we'll see what happens with that. So taking from more of a national level to a more local level, new governor for PA, we have Tom Wolf taking over for Tom Corbett. So, you know, how are you hoping that Wolf is different from Corbett?
I'll answer. Yeah,
Tommy,
so I mean, basically, Corbett, this is like an historic loss. I mean, if you look at it through historic, he actually, it was like the first governor to lose like his governorial position back to back. Like usually it never happens. Usually they're always keeping and that just shows you how bad he did and how many people just didn't like him. Obviously the funding of the schools really did not help, and that's the big reason why he did it. And I guess Wolf, I mean, obviously you're going to hope that he comes in and hopefully, most likely he's going to stop that. He's hopefully going to fund the schools more. And it definitely, Medicare and Medicaid is going to be a big thing right now. And Corbett had a plan installed to try to do something, and now this is going to kind of combat that, and Wolf's plan is going to have to come in and see what he's going to do then.
What do you think, Mike?
I mean, hopefully he does something about public pensions, but another thing that I think needs to be done is that, unlike Corbett was very partisan, and the state Senate and state representatives, they tried to be very bipartisan, and he would not sign sign bills by bipartisan efforts, and he would not sign budgets, and that made a lot of people angry. So hopefully Wolf will come in and, you know, see that compromise is trying to be made, and he will agree to what they are asking needs to get done.
So is there anything that you're kind of hoping Wolf is going to continue off of like Corbett's time in office, or is something that you would like to see Wolf change?
I mean, like I said before, I mean, obviously funding of the schools, and when you're cutting millions and millions of dollars from public, obviously in Philly, you're seeing the public
Really
schools
affected us here.
and obviously that's a change that has to be done. And I mean, in terms of keeping anything, I don't really know. I think more is improving. Like I said before, Medicare is a big thing that has to get done right now. I mean, you're looking at plenty of families, obviously with the Obamacare situation, you're looking at plenty of families that are really struggling in these times, and hopefully they can come with a plan to give people proper health care.
Yeah, Mike?
The major thing that needs to be done is pension reform still has to continue. Pensions are the main costs that are going towards school districts, including Philadelphia. And if you reform the pensions, then more money will go to students, and that'll help at least alleviate some of the problems. And then you can go towards seeing if you can allocate more money towards the schools through the budget.
Well, it seems like PA kind of has a hopeful future ahead, and I guess only time will tell. So we'll see what happens there. So now we're going to go across state lines a little bit to West Virginia. 18-year-old Sarah Blair is now in the House of Delegates in West Virginia. So what do you guys think of this? Do you think she's a fiscal conservative, and do you think an 18-year-old can handle this type of responsibility?
She did really well in the election. She beat out a 44-year-old
by
woman,
63%
Democrat,
of the vote.
and I think it shows how, I mean, for an 18-year-old, she's a freshman at West Virginia University.
Yes.
It shows that she's doing her best effort. She put in $4,000 in her own campaign, so she really wants it. She really wants to be a politician. Well, she is one now, obviously, but she wants to get deeper in the field. So I think that's a place where you have to be confident in. Probably she's going to do well in that sense, but still young. You have to see what she does.
We have to remember that Blair's father is a state senator and a longtime state senator.
That, yes.
So, I mean, he must have had
it must have influenced
name
a
recognition
bit.
definitely influenced it. Only time will tell. I mean, she's young, and hopefully she's mature enough to handle the job. I just don't know. I can't see what's going to happen.
I mean, she'll definitely give a voice to, you know, people in our generation and that's something that she said that was a big decision why she wanted to run for public office. So I'm definitely excited to see what she's going to be doing as an 18-year-old. Wow, I feel like I'm not doing anything, you know. But so we'll see what happens with that. But that's all the time that we have for this debate panel. So thank you guys for coming on. We appreciate it. And I'm going to send it back over to Corey to close out the show.
Thanks, Madison. Well, that does it for LTV News. Be sure to find us on the web as well as the rest of LaSalle TV on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. You can tweet at us at LaSalle TV Philly or email us your thoughts at lasalletv@lasalle.edu. If you missed the scoop and want to see it, you can find episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/LaSalle56. Until next time, for Steve, Madison, and the entire LTV News crew, I'm Corey Meredith. Never stop exploring.